What up? What up? It's your boy Random Reese. I'm here reporting live from my self quarantine apartment. Coronavirus full effect. Today is Wednesday, March 18th. I've been not locked up. I've been in my apartment for the most part since last Thursday, and I haven't recorded in a while. I wish I had. I had some technical issues with my computer. I did a great video about Tom Brady back in November going to the Bucs, but now, I mean, of course, he signed, well, unofficially signed, but it's reported he's going to go to the Bucs. And yeah, I didn't have any inside sources and anything like that, but just how the media works and everything, just reading between the lines of what certain people were saying, I kind of pieced everything together. Also, looking at salary cap and everything, like, okay, what's a good fit for him? And I figured it was going to be Tom Brady. So he's going to the Bucks. A lot of people are surprised. I'm not, 'cause like I said, I thought it was going to happen back in November. They got great weapons. They got two good tight ends, not just one, two good tight ends. They got OJ Howard and Cameron Brate. They have two Pro Bowl wide receivers. And then if y'all notice, Brashard Perriman stepped up towards the end of the season. He was a third wide receiver when Mike Evans went down. And then I think Chris Godwin got hurt too. But when Mike Evans went down, Brashard Perriman started to have some good games. And then Godwin got hurt. And then I think then Brashard Perriman started having like even more great. He had like a three touchdown game or some shit like that last year, and he was a first round pick. And my thing with NFL football players, lineage plays a factor. Like when you have a family member who's in the NFL and you make it to the NFL, not necessarily means that you're gonna make it to the NFL, but when you have lineage that played in the NFL and then you make it to the NFL, most of the times you will have success. Now, Perriman struggled his first few years with Baltimore. He's a first round pick, but he's finally getting it to come on. He probably is not a number one receiver, but playing in the slot, playing next to Godwin and Evans, that's probably the perfect things for him. So if they could, I forgot to check his contract. Man, I think I'm about to look it up right now. But if they can get him to come back and be on the same team, then man, that's a hell of a five. And then they need some running backs. I mean, they got Ronald Jones, whatever. They don't really need a great running back. They could probably always go and grab someone off the free agency to be like another running back to just fill spots. You know, one running back be a utility guy, mostly catch out the backfield. One person be that goal line running back. So they can have different running backs in different situations. They don't need a true one running back or number two running back. Devontae Freeman just got cut from the Falcons. If they could pick him up, that'd be a hell of a move right there. Um, and they got JPP, they got Shaq Barrett. They can get a cornerback or a safety just to solidify their secondary. They have a lot of cap room. They got like after they signed Brady to 30 million and they signed JPP, they still going to have about like 45 million in cap space. So NFC just got tougher. I made a small bet back on February 3rd that um, I made a small bet. It was giving me 50 to 1 odds for Tampa Bay to win the Super Bowl. Right now, the odds are down to 17 to 1, which is still pretty good. So if you like to bet, hop on it, put some money on it. I'm not even a Tampa Bay fan. I used to be a Tampa Bay fan back in the day. I went to the Eagles Tampa Bay NFC Championship in 2001 that they shut down the vet and then they won the Super Bowl the following week that year. So I was a huge Warren Sapp fan, huge Derrick Brooks, um, Mike Allstott, Lynch. I loved all those guys. That was my favorite team, like of all time. Like I played with them on Madden every single year. So I'm a big Tampa Bay fan. I live in South Florida. I may go out there to check out a Tom Brady game. I always like to see greatness. I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but when I go to football games or basketball games, I like to see great players. So if I never seen them play live, I want to go out there and go see them. Like I never seen Kobe play. That's one of my big regrets, But I've seen Steph Curry play. I've seen Kevin Durant. I tried to go see Tim Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker play, but this is when Popovich started doing the bullshit, resting players when they was healthy. So I was kind of pissed. I went out there. It was a Thursday night game on TNT too, so TNT was kind of pissed because they didn't get their stars. to play. The game was great. The game went into overtime or double overtime, but it was still lackluster not seeing the stars play. This was in 2013, and then I think that Pop had a feeling that they may play the Heat in the finals, so he didn't want to give them any type of video footage. He never really said this personally out loud, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that he rests players against other good teams so they won't have footage against them. So if you only play a team twice, now you only play them once without their stars, you're not going to have any footage to play on when you go meet them in the playoffs. So Pop play chess moves. He thinks 4, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead. You know, so he plays all these moves, chess moves ahead, which is smart. Like that's why he's one of the greatest coaches of all time because he thinks so far ahead, so far advanced of everyone else. They didn't win the championship that year, but they almost won it, but they did win the following year. So yeah, Brady to the Bucs, big move. Who else? What other football moves just happened? Nick Foles just got traded to the Bears. This is a good move for the Bears, good move for the Jaguars to get off that contract. The Bears, now the Bears still going to keep Trubisky as a quarterback. He's still under his rookie contract, so they're not paying him a lot, but it gives them an out if Trubisky doesn't perform. Now, some players play better with competition. Drew Brees was a second round pick for the Chargers after 2 years, 3 years with the Chargers. He wasn't playing up to his best. Chargers had top pick in the draft. They traded down Eli Manning, and Eli Manning didn't want to go there. They traded the pick. They was forced to trade the pick because Eli Manning said he wasn't playing for the Chargers. They drafted Rivers. They drafted Rivers, and Drew Brees has his best season of his life. Coincidence? I don't think so. One, I think players do play better in contract years. Two, Drew Brees had pressure on him because they drafted a quarterback in the top three of the draft. He was going to be the starter. You don't draft a quarterback top five first round if they're not going to be the starter. So this put the pressure on Drew Brees to perform. I'm not saying Mitch Trubisky is Drew Brees, but if you look at the type of pressure they're going to put on him, we just traded for Nick Foles. He was supposed to be the starter for Jacksonville. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. If you don't perform, he's going to be the starter. Actually, it might be open competition. They may say open competition, the best man wins. You know, so Nick Foles is not going there thinking I'm a backup. He's thinking I'm going to try to compete to be a starter. So competition, survival of the fittest. Put two quarterbacks in there. Whoever wins can become the quarterback. So this can help Trubisky, and if it doesn't help Trubisky, then you have Foles right there. So you have Foles right there who fits within their system. I'm not a big fan of Foles. I'm not sure how good Foles can be. He's kind of like Fitzpatrick type. Some seasons you're going to have a really good season from him. Some seasons you're going to have a bad season. So I'm not exactly sure what you're going to get out of him. Other news in the NFL is a lot of Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott still hasn't signed a contract. The Cowboys franchise him. A lot of people are upset that he got franchised. I still don't see the big deal when people get upset about franchise. You still gonna make your money. The franchise tag just allows the Cowboys to still negotiate with him up until July and make sure he can't negotiate with other teams. He doesn't negotiate with everybody else. And all these other players, quarterbacks getting contracts. Ryan Tannehill got a contract. Kirk Cousins got an extension, and all these media talking heads are upset. Stephen A's upset. Shannon Sharp is upset. But reports has it that Dak Prescott wants more money than Wentz and more money than he wants Russell Wilson money. He wants like close to $40 million a year. You know, Dan Orlovsky said, what's the big deal between 4 to 5 million a year? It's only 15, 20 million. That's a lot of money, dog. I don't know what the fuck you talking about. It's not only 15, 20 million. That's a lot of money tying up to your quarterback. But I also heard the biggest thing is that the years. Dak Prescott wants a 4 year contract. The Cowboys wants to give him a 5 year contract. Now on that end, I'm on Dak Prescott's side. You know, sign a shorter contract. So now if you sign a contract for 29, 31 million a year, right, and you outperform, you can go and you can re-up faster. When the Cowboys want to lock him in long term, like let's sign this long term deal for 31 a year, and then now when the new revenues come in 4 or 5 years from now, and it's like, okay, we still got him at a discount for year five. When Dak was like, nah, year five, I need to be fucking getting my new bag again because year five is gonna be probably my last time getting that big bag. So on that side, I'm on Dak Prescott's side. I'm always on the player side to sign shorter term deals. Sign shorter term deals, and then you can re up faster. You can re up faster to get more money, get bigger money. So on that side, I'm with that. But as far as like the yearly contract, um, he's not worth 35. He's worth about maybe like 31, 32 million. So he should get a contract for like 4 years, like 120. 4 years, 120 with like, 85 million guaranteed. That's like a good contract for Dak Prescott, good contract for the Cowboys. But I think they kind of made a mistake giving Amari Cooper 5 years, 100, but they was kind of stuck, because they already gave up a first round pick for him. And if they didn't give him, then there was no wide receivers out on the open market. So they had to go and pay him his money. Speaking of wide receivers, the Cardinals came up with DeAndre Hopkins. That was a really good move for them because they didn't need David Johnson no more because they had traded for King and Drake and saw that he can ball out. King and Drake is still on a rookie deal, so they unloaded his contract. Now you got DeAndre Hopkins, and you still got Fitzgerald, who's going to be playing until he's 40, and so you got a veteran quarterback, you got a still young quarterback, you got a veteran wide receiver, and you still got a top five wide receiver to go along with your going to be second year quarterback. So he has that comfort blanket. And for a young quarterback, you need a top tier wide receiver to have that comfort, to have that security blanket. So we should see some strides from the Cardinals, see some strides from Kyler Murray. I don't know how much leeway, how much steps he's going to take. I'm not sure if he's going to take that Lamar Jackson jump to go from okay quarterback to superstar next year. Like that's very rare. Or even Patrick Mahomes, even though Mahomes didn't play his rookie year, going from unplaying to MVP is unheard of. I'm not sure we're going to see a second year quarterback become MVP for the third year in a row. But if it happens, will I say be surprised? No, because Kyler Murray is that talented of a player. Now, on the flip side, the Texans let go a top receiver. Like, why would you let go a top receiver for so little? Now, I'm always in the belief, if you see my other podcasts, see any other clips, top five wide receivers don't get it done. They don't really win championships. Like they put up the great numbers, they own a great teams, but overall, you don't really need them to win. You need a nice group core of receivers. Yes, people will say, well, Tyreek Hill won a championship last year. True, but he didn't really put up those top five numbers. And at the time, he's still not being paid as a top five wide receiver as of yet. Even Sammy Watkins is getting big money, but if you look at his numbers, he's not putting up those top five numbers. Um, they do it as a committee. They have a lot of great wide receivers together, and then once Hill becomes a top five wide receiver, you will see a decline in their production because when you pay that one player, you can't play everyone else. You know, so and then, like I said, look at the last 20 years. There's not a lot of teams with top five wide receivers on their team that has won Super Bowls. You do it by committee. You pay your linemen, you pay your offensive lineman, left tackle, right tackle, and you pay your defensive ends. Everyone else, you kind of spread the wealth around. You spread the wealth around and try to have a collection of talent and try to have the best collection of talent possible. So if anyone get hurt, you just plug and play, then you just have a nice rotation of people who can also play situationally. That's how you build Super Bowl teams, but it's hard to do because when people are successful on championship teams, they usually get a big bag from another team and they have to leave the championship team to go to a new team. Back when it was the 49ers and the Cowboys and the salary cap was like pretty much nothing, then they can just keep playing their players, and they can hold on to all their great players until they're too old, you know, and then that's how they maintain their success. Right now, it's hard to maintain your success and maintain your dynasty in this day and age in the NFL. Now, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, they got David Johnson, they got a second round pick. Then I saw the pick swap, the fourth round pick swap. Now, Texans had, if I was the Texans, I would have took the fourth round pick this year and gave up their fourth round pick next year. So that way it gives them more picks. So they don't have a first round pick and they don't have a fourth round pick this year. So they only have a second. They have 2 seconds, I think, or maybe 1 second. So that kind of got me scratching my head if Bill O'Brien is the best GM for that team. He may be a good coach for the team, but I'm thinking that some of these moves are like a lot of lateral moves and a lot of these trades, they could have got more out of the trades. And he's kind of getting beat when he's making these trades. Like, he's like making his trades on a whim and not really thinking about them or waiting till the best offer comes in. Especially when I seen Stephon Diggs get traded for three draft picks, a first, a fifth, and a seventh. So to the Bills, like you could have got this from the Bills. Why would I would just waited? They already have Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. You don't really need David Johnson, and David Johnson hasn't really produced much since 2017. Like, he has 2017 to 18. No, 2017. 2018, he was hurt out all year. Last year, he had a subpar season. So they must think that maybe another year healthy coming back, he may be able to produce those same numbers, which is possible, especially playing along with Deshaun Watson, having a true running back, having that true running game. Then you could do play actions, and hopefully with these play actions, will keep some of those defensive linemen off Deshaun Watson ass because he's been getting hit a lot in his career. So, um, yeah, Stephon Diggs went to the Bills. That was a nice pickup for the Bills. They may have gave up too much. I don't think Stephon Diggs put them over the top. If I was the Bills, I would have used my first round pick to draft a wide receiver. One, you get him for cheaper. Two, you don't that wide receiver could be just as good as Stephon Diggs in a year or two. But I'm maybe the Bills are thinking they don't have time, but they had John Brown and Cole Beasley. I think they could have got someone in the first round. You see what AJ Brown did last year. And I'm saying there's guys like AJ Brown, he could be a one-time type of deal. He's big, fast. He's a outlier, but what I'm saying is that this draft has that type of talent. And if I was the Bills, I would have just drafted somebody because I don't think Stephon Diggs is a team first guy. He's a me first guy. So he's going to come out. He's going to be vocal if he's not getting the ball. If he thinks that the quarterback is not playing up to par, he's going to say something. So talent wise, I think that's going to elevate the wide receiver core. But I'm just not a big Stephon Diggs fan unless I'm playing fantasy football. Vikings, they did the smart thing because, like I said, they're just going to take that first round pick or second round pick and draft maybe one or two wide receivers to go along with Adam Thielen, and they're going to be right back plug and play. The Vikings are one of those teams that keep a lot of talent on their team, and they can have a lot of different people at different positions. Shoot, they got 2, 3 good running backs right now, so they don't really need to look at running backs. They got players all over the defensive end. Extra draft picks, and if someone they deem is not worth the money that they think they need to be paid, they could just move on and just like plug the next guy in, next man up. So I'm glad that the NFL free agency is back at least. That gives us something to talk about through these trying times. I would hope everyone stays safe. Keep washing your hands if you need to go out. Go out responsibly. Go out for like things that you have to do. Going to the supermarket, things of that nature. Wash your hands. Stay safe. And you come back, wash everything off. And the worst is just to come. Just hopefully that you stay safe. And if you do get it, my prayers are with you. Oh, prayers of KD. Damn, so sad. One of my favorite players, 4 Nets got it so far. 7 NBA players that have the coronavirus. KD being one of them. I'm not seeing them. Idris Alba has it. A lot of celebrities have it, and I'm just hoping that everyone stays safe and we don't see any casualties, any major casualties from the coronavirus. So I'm going to start posting more. I'm going to see a video from me at least twice a day. I'm going to talk about a lot of different random shit. Like I said, random reach. You may see me cooking. You may see me doing some home workouts. Um, Important line from my bedroom. Nothing fancy. May put some put some artwork behind me, you know. So maybe like 1 or 2 videos a day, just trying to just put this content out, and then eventually, hopefully, y'all like this shit. You know what I mean? So, Random Reese, I'm out.